Anyone in our line of work knows that the night of the Ghost Festival is full of taboos. Like not looking back over your shoulder, and never picking up money from the ground. And you definitely don't take jobs burning paper at a grave at night just for cash. But for $1,000, not only did I take the job, I also burned the stuff at the wrong damn grave, and as a result, the beautiful woman on the tombstone came knocking on my door that very night. She said she absolutely loved the paper money I burned for her. So she decided to take me as her return gift. It was the Ghost Festival in Yanbei, and the old alleyways were as cold as an icebox. The wind reeked of burning paper. I was sitting on the doorstep of my own paper offering shop. Absolutely furious. What the hell is our support doing? Follow me, for God's sake. I'm already at 0 and 8. And you dumbass jungler, stealing my red buff, really? I slammed my phone shut, cursing up a storm. What a bunch of useless teammates. They don't deserve to win. It's been a year since I crossed over into this world. I feel like a total disgrace to time travelers everywhere. Forget about not having some overpowered cheat code. I'm completely broke. A year ago, right before my grandpa died, he left this shop to me. He said, "Little Mo, our family business must not stop. Stopping will bring trouble. For your first year, you only do business during the day. If customers come at night, do not open the door." I was completely baffled at the time. It's a shop that sells things for dead people. Why are there so many rules? But out of my basic respect for the unknown, I honestly stuck to the rules for a whole year. I closed up shop right at 6 p.m. every single day. And the result? I haven't made a sale in over half a year, and I'm so broke I'm about to eat dirt. I glanced at my phone. 3 minutes to 6. Time to clock out. I got up and grabbed a box filled with incense, candles, and paper money. Plus a big bag of gold paper ingots. That's right, I took an on-demand order to burn offerings for someone. Damn it, if they care so much, why don't they come and burn it themselves? I grumbled to myself as I double-checked the information. Shangyuan Cemetery, grave number 1107, Shengshang. Just as I was about to head out, a sinister gust of wind howled past, so cold it made me shiver. I suddenly remembered another one of Grandpa's taboos. In your first year in the trade, never take any business on the night of the Ghost Festival. Old man, it's not that I'm disobeying you. It's just that the guy paid extra. A $1,000 tip is enough for me to live on for half a month. Being broke is my only motivation right now. Before leaving, I subconsciously glanced at the Taoist robe hanging in the main hall. Grandpa said it could save my life in a crisis. Back then I even thought, the old man was probably just afraid I wouldn't make it, and wanted me to become a Taoist priest to scam people out of their money. I locked the door, and immediately called a cab to the suburbs. Little did I know, this decision would almost cost me my life. Shangyuan Cemetery. Tombstones covered the entire mountainside. I climbed up the stone steps, still muttering to myself about the gates of hell opening on the Ghost Festival. If I wasn't so broke, there's no way in hell I'd step out of the house today. Soon enough, I found tombstone number 1106, but right next to it was just a dirt mound covered in weeds. Where's 1107? My sharp eyes spotted an old stone tablet hidden in the grass. It looked much older than all the rest. They had the money to buy a cemetery plot, but not enough to pick a good spot. I mocked under my breath, as I set up the incense, candles, and paper money. Then I yelled at the top of my lungs, Shengshang, it's the festival, come get your money. Shengshang, collect your money. After calling his name 3 times, the paper money was just about burned to ashes. I recorded a video, sent it to the client, and turned around to leave. But right at that moment, my phone started ringing loudly. It was the client. I picked up with a smile. How's that, boss? Happy with the job? Who the hell did you burn that for? That is not my grandpa's grave. The girl on the other end of the line was absolutely furious. I froze, then sprinted right back and ripped away the overgrown weeds. Staring back from a faded black and white photo on the tombstone, was a young woman. And you call yourselves a century-old business? You can't even get the right grave. I hung up right then and there. Crap, I burned it at the wrong grave. I stared at the girl in the picture. She looked barely 18 or 19. She had such delicate features. An absolute beauty. Such a shame. Way too young, I sighed. Just take it as a little gift from a passerby. It was getting dark. I was ready to bolt. I'd just come back tomorrow to make it up to the old guy. But the second I stood up, a voice whispered right into my ear. Thank you, mister. The voice was incredibly soft and light. but it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand straight up. "Who's there?" I whipped my head around. There was nothing but tombstones. Not a single soul in sight. Must be hearing things. I was panting hard. My back was drenched in cold sweat. I tried to steady my nerves, but something compelled me to glance back at the tombstone. And when I did, I froze solid. That girl in the photo? The one with the blank face? The corners of her mouth were curled up into a creepy, twisted smile. Holy mother of pearl, I nearly lost my mind. I scrambled and stumbled wildly down the mountain. She smiled. She freaking smiled. I know what I saw. I bolted all the way to the cemetery gates. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was gonna burst out of my throat. It was pitch black outside. I couldn't catch a cab to save my life, so I had to wait for the last bus of the night. Dang it, ghosts are actually real, I muttered to myself, trying to build up some courage. But my body was feeling heavier by the second, like I was carrying a boulder on my back. Shortly after, the bus finally pulled up. I dragged myself on board. I tossed some cash into the box. "Hey driver, wake me up at Osmanthus Street, will ya?" The driver had been slouching lazily in his seat, but the second he caught a glimpse of me, it was like he got struck by lightning. He bolted straight up in his chair. He squeezed his eyes shut and absolutely refused to look my way again. What a weirdo, I mumbled to myself. I found a window seat and instantly dozed off. It wasn't until a piercing screech of brakes that I jolted awake. It was my stop. I dragged my heavy body off the bus. But as I passed the driver, I noticed he was twisting himself into this bizarre, awkward position just to avoid my gaze. Only when I was far away did he finally whip his head back around. He was drenched in cold sweat, bowing frantically to thin air. What on earth is that kid carrying on his back? Of course, I couldn't hear him. All I knew was that I felt like I was trudging through thick mud. Every single step weighed a ton. The moment I turned into my alleyway, I couldn't take it anymore. I leaned heavily against the wall, gasping for air. Geez, why am I so heavy? The moonlight from above reflected off a small puddle on the ground. I glanced down by accident. The puddle perfectly mirrored my face. And right there, resting heavily on my shoulder, was a pale, slender hand. Holy freaking crap, my brain completely short-circuited with a loud ringing sound. I spun around and yanked the slender figure right in front of me. But her hands were locked tight around my neck. "Hey handsome, you really don't know how to treat a lady." That sweet, delicate voice whispered right against my ear. I looked up in sheer panic. Our eyes met, and I saw a breathtakingly beautiful face. She was wearing a flowing red dress, absolutely gorgeous, but also incredibly cold, without a single drop of color in her pale skin. It was the exact same woman from the tombstone. "Tell me handsome, am I pretty?" She gave me a sweet smile, a hint of genuine shyness actually flashing across her face. Pretty. My mind went completely blank. I nodded uncontrollably. "You really think I'm pretty? Then come away with me, okay?" She tugged gently at my collar. She leaned in, her eyes filled with seduction. I opened my mouth to speak, but a pair of freezing, soft lips sealed mine tight. So soft, moist, and sweet. I gulped hard, just as my mind started to blur, feeling my whole body being wrapped in a bizarre red glow. A muffled thump echoed from deep within the east alley. The lady in red suddenly jerked her head up. Her eyes glared into the darkness, as cold and sharp as knives. A violent shiver ran down my spine, and I snapped wide awake. What beautiful woman. There was no beauty here. Only a horrifyingly pale, ghastly face. Oh, hell no. I have no idea where I found the strength, but I shoved her off me with everything I had. I scrambled and stumbled all the way back to my papercraft shop. In a life or death crisis, this will save you. My grandpa's words exploded in my head. I dashed inside the shop, ripped the Taoist robe right off the wall, and threw it on without a second thought. "Grandpa, your precious grandson's life is entirely in your hands now." I frantically fumbled to tie the collar, when I suddenly felt something hidden inside the lining. A letter, and a jade pendant. The moment my fingers touched the jade, a warm sensation washed over me, and my violently pounding heart actually started to calm down. I tore the letter open as fast as I could. My dear grandson Lin Mo, seeing this letter is like seeing me in person. The letter was incredibly long, but I only grasped a few key points. First, my grandpa was one badass Taoist master. This shop? It served ghosts at night. Second, this jade pendant could absorb ghostly energy for cultivation. Third, Grandpa had called upon the gods to protect this very courtyard for exactly 1 year, giving me time to train. And buy me some time. Reading this, my whole body started trembling. Ghosts were actually real, but right after that, a tiny line of text at the very end of the letter almost made me cough up blood. My dear grandson, knowing your personality, you definitely found this letter right away. Are you surprised? Did I catch you off guard? Caught off guard? I'll give you off guard, you crazy old man. What kind of person does this? If you had a backup plan, why didn't you just tell me earlier? Did we really have to play escape room puzzles? I was so furious I wanted to rip the letter to shreds. I flipped it over, only to realize there was more writing on the back. My dear grandson, remember this well. After next year's Ghost Festival, a red trial will come for you. If it arrives before the Frost's descent, you will be fine, but if the Frost's descent passes and it hasn't shown up, run immediately. Hesitate for even a second, and you are dead for sure. My head was absolutely spinning. What the hell was a red trial? But the most crucial problem was, I was only just freaking reading this letter right now. That so-called 1-year protection period was already freaking over. Crap, I clutched my head and let out a miserable, agonizing howl. But right at that moment, that seductive voice echoed from outside the door. Are you feeling lonely in there, handsome? Come on out, let me keep you company. Hearing that voice, all my terror instantly morphed into sheer rage. I was dead either way. All this screaming and hiding, it's just death, right? The worst that could happen is I just get reincarnated again. Wearing my Taoist robe, I kicked the door wide open, pointed right at the woman in red floating in the courtyard, and let out a string of curses. But my bravado instantly vanished. Come and get me, then. The ghost in red gave a wicked, sultry smile, and drifted straight toward me. Just as that pale face was about to press against mine, boom, the Taoist robe I was wearing suddenly blasted out a blinding golden light. The female ghost let out a blood-curdling shriek and was blasted several meters back. Dark, pulsing veins surfaced all over her face. I just stood there, completely stunned. I looked down. Golden light was flowing wildly all across the robe. It actually freaking works. My confidence skyrocketed in a heartbeat. I strutted right up to the steps, dramatically flipped my robe, and gave her a "come here" gesture with my finger. I thought you were actually tough. Come on, just try and touch me. But my badass moment didn't even last 3 seconds. Before the words even left my mouth, a bone-chilling cold crept up from my exposed knees that weren't covered by the robe. Thud, I immediately dropped to the floor. My knees instantly froze solid and turned completely blue. Oh, handsome, that celestial master robe might protect you for a moment, but it can't protect you forever. The ghost's voice whispered right into my ear, dripping with absolute mockery. Let's just take our time. Once your magic runs dry, every last drop of your life force will belong to me. Pure despair washed over me, leaving my heart ice cold. But right then, a sudden thought crossed my mind. Wait, you just want my life energy, right? Are you willing to give it up? She materialized right in front of me, her face dangerously close to mine, asking with intense curiosity. My mouth twitched. If I gave it to her, I'd die. If I didn't, I'd still be dead once she dragged it out of me. But right now, the one thing I needed most was time. Time to cultivate my powers. A real man knows when to yield. I'll give it to you, I gritted my teeth. But I have one condition. My life force is pretty limited. You can't suck it all dry at once. Every day, you can only take 1%. 100 days. In 100 days, my life is completely yours. My heart was absolutely pounding in my throat after saying that. But to my surprise, she just stared at me. And without a second of hesitation, she grinned. Sure thing, no problem. I was stunned. Did I offer too much? She agreed way too easily. Now I was the one getting seriously creeped out. So, how exactly do I give it to you? I asked, bracing myself. She didn't answer. Instead, she stood up on her tiptoes. Her eyes filled with wicked seduction as she slowly leaned in close and parted those tempting, crimson lips. I involuntarily gulped. In that exact moment, it hit me. She didn't care if I stalled for time at all. With her soul-snatching, seductive looks, forget 100 days. I probably wouldn't even last a single day. Screw this. I bundled up my robe and scrambled back into the house on my hands and knees, slamming the door shut with a loud bang. From the courtyard, her teasing, silvery giggle echoed through the night. Don't be scared, handsome. Some flavors, once you taste them, you just can't quit. If I don't give in, I'll be dead eventually anyway. But right now, what I need most is time. Time to cultivate. A real man knows when to bend. I can give it to you. I gritted my teeth, but I have one condition. My life essence is limited. You can't suck it all at once. Every single day, you can only take 1%. 100 days. After 100 days, this life of mine is all yours. My heart was in my throat after I said that. But who knew? She just stared at me. She smiled almost without hesitation. Sure thing, no problem. I was dumbfounded. Did I offer too much? She agreed way too easily, which actually made my skin crawl. Then, how'd I give it? I asked, bracing myself. She didn't answer. She just stood on her tiptoes, with a seductive look in her eyes, and slowly leaned in close. She parted those tempting red lips, and I instinctively gulped. In that instant, it hit me. She wasn't afraid of me stalling for time at all. With that soul-stealing look of hers, forget 100 days. I probably wouldn't even last a single day. Damn it, I wrapped my Taoist robe tight, scrambled wildly back into the room, and slammed the door shut with a bang. From the courtyard, her teasing, sweet laugh echoed. Don't be scared, little brother. Some flavors, once you taste them, you can never quit. I lay on my bed, rubbing my freezing, purple-tinged hands and feet, my brain an absolute mess. This world really does have ghosts. There's literally a female ghost floating right outside my door, wanting to suck my life essence. And I foolishly agreed to an installment plan. Every time I think of the word suck, I feel a dull ache in my kidneys. But what's even more deadly, the 1 year of divine protection my grandpa prayed for, expires exactly today. Which means, starting from 12 midnight tonight, this shop of mine will officially open for ghost business. I have to run. I must run. The moment that thought popped up, it grew wildly. As soon as the sun rises, I'm buying a ticket and getting out of here. No, going abroad, but, what about money? Suddenly, I remembered seeing something in a group chat a few days ago. High-paying actor recruitment abroad. Hey, I used to be an extra before I transmigrated. Isn't this right up my alley? I've already transmigrated. It's not like going abroad means getting my kidneys stolen, right? I muttered to myself. Without realizing it, I drifted off to sleep. However, reality struck faster than any nightmare. Hiss. A sharp pain in my leg jolted me awake. The purple skin reminded me that everything from last night was not a dream. Damn it, I felt so wronged I wanted to cry. Other people transmigrate with cheat systems dinging left and right, but I transmigrate just to get tormented by ghosts. I pulled out my phone and looked. 12:01 a.m. Just past midnight. Hell, that's such bad luck. I was so mad I wanted to throw my phone. But right at that moment, there was a knock at the door. Thump, 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 thump. One strike after another. No more, no less. Exactly 4 knocks. The ghost's knock. What does this female ghost want now? My first thought was her, as the knocking went on and on, sounding like a literal death warrant. Screw this, I couldn't take it anymore. I pulled my Taoist robe tight and yanked the door open. But outside stood a massive, tower-like brute, with a face full of fierce, fleshy scowls. Hey, he barked. The banging sounded like thunder. Are you still open for business or what? My ears were ringing from the shock, and I was just about to curse, when I suddenly realized, it's a new day now. I have to open shop. I looked down. Sure enough, my Taoist robe was glowing with golden light. Are you a freaking ghost? I asked, eyes wide. No shit. If I'm not a ghost, what am I? Why else would I come to your Ziyuan shop? Get me my stuff. My brain short-circuited, and bam, I shut the door right in his face. Hey, the burly ghost cursed up a storm outside, kicking the doorframe over and over. I squatted on the ground, holding my head. I didn't expect a customer to show up this fast. Little bro, the lady ghost in red's eerie voice drifted over. You can't turn away customers when you're in the underworld business. I don't want to do this. I roared in frustration. Hee hee, once you take the job, there's no turning back. Her words were like a bucket of ice water, chilling me right to the bone. The kicking and cursing outside grew louder and louder. I felt my own temper flare right up to my head. Scared or not, even a cornered animal will fight back. What the hell are you banging for? I yanked the door open again, pointing right at his nose as I cursed. You son of a bitch. Ziyuan shop has some massive nerve. The burly ghost pointed right back at me. Believe it or not, I'll call all the local ghosts to rip your skull right off. My heart skipped a beat. I caught a few key words. Ziyuan Shop, Ghost Festival, Underworld Rules. I took a deep breath, mimicking the tone from my grandpa's letter. I asked, pretending to be a seasoned pro, what do you need? 3 eternal lamps, 5 guiding incense sticks, and 800 taels of gold, full weight. He rattled off a list instantly. I instinctively glanced toward the backyard. The paper offerings back there actually seemed to match. Alright, come in, I nodded, and stop kicking my damn doorframe, will you? The burly ghost scoffed and stepped right in. But right as he crossed the threshold, he gave me a side eye. And deliberately stomped on it a few more times. Bam, bam, I'll kick it if I want to. What are you gonna do about it? He stepped right up to me, and that's when I got a clear look at his face. It was bloated and swollen like a rotting corpse. It was so disgusting I almost threw up. Fighting back the nausea, I turned to go get his stuff, but right at that moment, he suddenly spoke up. Hold on. The burly ghost stared at me dead in the eye, his tone turning wicked and mocking. You don't have any spiritual cultivation, do you? My heart sank. I didn't make a peep, but subconsciously pulled my Taoist robe tighter around me. Seeing my reaction, he suddenly cracked a wide, grotesque smile. Bubbling pus dripped down from the corners of his mouth. Why the hell would I buy anything? He revealed his true, terrifying ghost form, laughing sinisterly. You dare walk the underworld path with 0 cultivation? It's way faster to just rob you. Before his voice even faded, a mountain of bloated flesh came crashing right at me. Oh, crap, I turned and bolted in terror, but he still slammed right into me. Sizzle, ah, damn it, what the hell are you wearing? The burly ghost let out an agonizing shriek. The Taoist robe on my body burned him so badly he was smoking all over. The impact knocked me back a few steps. Not daring to linger, I booked it straight for the backyard. Stay right the hell there. The brute ignored everything and charged at me again. He moved like lightning, slamming into me and sending me flying 3 meters away. I sprawled on the ground, feeling like my insides had been completely rearranged. The brute rubbed his burned skin, glaring daggers at me with those dark green eyes. He was clearly figuring out how to rip this Taoist robe right off my back. Just as I was losing all hope, a voice suddenly rang out. Hey there, little guy. I looked up. The woman in the red dress, the ghost, was standing on the wall. She flashed a sweet smile and held up 5 fingers. What the heck did that mean? Before I could even process it, the brute rammed into me again. Bam! I was thrown straight into the middle of the courtyard. I glanced back up at the wall. The ghost just waved those 5 fingers at me again. Her eyes were full of this smug, calculating look. And then, it clicked. Screw it. 5 times. Just save me. I screamed my lungs out. Big sister. The ghost in red just gave a smug smirk. In a flash, she floated right down in front of me. The brute froze. Before he could even react, a cold light flashed in the ghost's eyes. With a blood-curdling scream, the brute literally exploded into a shower of gore. But the creepy part? Those chunks of flesh quickly started stitching themselves back together. Though his body looked a lot more transparent now. Hey little guy, how about I just eat him? The ghost looked back at me, asking with this completely innocent face. I stumbled backward in terror. What the hell kind of ghost are you? The newly formed brute shrieked in absolute panic. How is there something as strong as you in Jai Yuan Pavilion? Didn't old man Lin die? The female ghost just gave him a cold, sidelong glare. And just like that, the brute was so terrified he collapsed into a puddle of goo again, unable to reform. Hey little guy, add another 5 times, and I'll devour him completely for you. She licked her lips, her eyes filled with absolute hunger. Before I could even say a word, the brute who had just pulled himself together suddenly dropped to his knees with a thud. He actually ripped off his own arm and threw it right at my feet. Little boss, I don't want the stuff anymore. Keep this as a down payment. Just please, let me go. As he begged, he started screaming desperately toward the doors outside. No fighting inside Jai Yuan Pavilion. Those are the rules of the road. Where are the wandering spirits of the 4 directions? When the ghost in red heard that name, she raised an eyebrow, but her face was full of total contempt. It hit me instantly. Whatever was outside those doors could actually save this guy's life. But the ghost in red didn't seem scared at all. I didn't hesitate. I sprinted into the backyard, packed up the stuff the brute had been after, and threw it over. He snatched it up and ran for his life without looking back. His body was a whole lot smaller than when he first got here. Right then, the jade pendant in my pocket started burning up. I walked over to the severed arm and pulled out the pendant. In a flash, the arm turned into a streak of black smoke and got sucked right into it. Oh, so that's how it works. A chill ran down my spine. Hey, little guy. The ghost's voice echoed. I turned around to see her blinking at me, pouting those ruby red lips. Time to collect my debt. I gritted my teeth. I slipped off half of my Taoist robe, puffed out my chest, and marched right over to her. Moi, 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 moi. 5 kisses later. My legs completely gave out, and my vision started fading to black. All right, I staggered back into the room, feeling like my body had been completely hollowed out. Sigh. Enduring humiliation. Trading my vital essence just to stay alive. I let out a heavy sigh, and stopped hesitating. I bit my finger and squeezed a drop of blood onto the jade pendant. In a flash, a flood of complex, ancient text surged into my mind. The midnight noon yang severing chapter. The ghost energy absorbed by the pendant transformed into a pure light, flowing through all my limbs. My entire body, I had finally started cultivating. The next day, I slept all the way until the afternoon. The moment I opened my eyes, I saw over 20 missed calls on my phone, and a pile of text messages. Boss, help me, you bastard, you messed up the paper burning. My grandpa came back, it was the client from yesterday. My heart instantly dropped, a terrible feeling washed over me. Damn it, it couldn't be this screwed up, could it? One female ghost wasn't enough, and now there's another one? I quickly dialed back, no answer. I sent a text, but it was like shouting into the void. I put down my phone, and started to feel the changes inside my body. The midnight noon yang severing chapter flowed through my mind. I felt a wave of heat surging wildly inside me. It finally settled in my core, and the vital essence that the female ghost had sucked out actually came back. This technique is badass. I also tried to channel the power of the old house. With just a thought, whoosh, the front doors opened all on their own without any wind. That is so cool. I felt like I had become one with this house. Later, I dug out an old chest from my grandpa's belongings. It was full of ancient books, all about how to run a paper craft shop. Gathering yin energy. There was even stuff on alchemy and drawing talismans. That unreliable old man, I couldn't help but mutter another curse. If I had found this earlier, I wouldn't have been in such a pathetic mess. In a small booklet, I found my grandpa's logs of receiving ghosts. He even repeatedly mentioned names like the cripple and the cook. Wandering spirits from all directions. I started to piece things together in my head. Before I knew it, it was dark again. I sat behind the counter, my heart pounding with anxiety, acting like a nervous bride waiting for her veil to be lifted. Hey there, handsome, the woman in red was back. She sat across from me, oozing seduction. Walking the path of the dead isn't exactly an easy way to make a living, you know. Why don't you just give in to me? I can make you feel absolutely euphoric. She leaned in so close, we were practically touching. My breath hitched. I could feel the spiritual pressure of the old house, but it was completely useless against her. Now, don't get any naughty ideas, handsome. She looked at me with a teasing smile, acting like she had me completely trapped. I squeezed my eyes shut, chanting in my head, I can't hear you, blah blah blah. Anyway, all she wants is my vital essence. As long as I don't give it to her, I still have the upper hand. But right at that moment, 4 heavy knocks echoed from outside the door. Thump, 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 thump. I took a deep breath. Come in. A dark shadow roared and charged straight inside. On pure instinct, I channeled the power of the old house. Bang, the 2 front doors slammed shut with massive force. It completely smashed the dark shadow flying back out. Phew, I let out a huge sigh of relief. The power of this house gave me some real confidence. I pushed open the door. A scrawny ghost, looking like some ratty little minion, was sprawled on the floor, completely dazed. What do you want to buy? I asked. The minion ghost scrambled up, hands on his hips, and roared, Bah, you little brat. Without a second thought, I slammed my hand onto the counter. Bang, the front doors smashed shut again, instantly crushing that minion ghost into a pile of black ash. When the doors reopened, the ghost wobbled to his feet, stared at the door in pure terror, and bolted. Seeing this play out, I froze for a second, then couldn't help but curse. Holy shit, these freaks aren't even that tough, are they? It suddenly clicked for me. You can't play by the rules with ghosts. It's the law of the jungle out here. As long as I'm vicious enough, as long as I'm strong enough. I just need to beat the hell out of them. Right at that moment, a violently murdered ghost dragging his own guts strutted right in. You little bastard, your daddy's here. A chunk of his intestines slapped wetly onto the floor as he glared menacingly. Old Ghost Lin is dead, and the wandering gods have bailed. Your lucky streak is officially over, kid. I listened to this freak's arrogant rambling, narrowing my eyes on the spot as my fists clenched tight. Hey, you little punk. Did you hear what the hell I just said? The mutilated ghost saw me sitting perfectly still and actually thought I was terrified. He literally strutted right up to me, a wildly cocky smirk plastered across his face. As he crept closer and closer, bang, I slammed my hand onto the desk, channeling the old house's power with everything I had. If we're doing this, I'm not backing down. With a heavy hum, an invisible, crushing pressure swept through the paper shop. The force literally smashed the guy down to his knees. Before he could even process it, a massive force yanked him up and hurled him toward the door. You little brat, how dare you? Before he could finish, the double doors slammed shut with a deafening bang. The blast scared the violently murdered ghost into a full-body shiver, completely wiping the smirk off his face. Seeing him cower like a pathetic loser, I finally let out a sigh of relief. Looks like the power of this old house really can crush these blind, arrogant freaks. Phew, I slowly stood up straight, glaring down at the mutilated ghost groveling on the floor. He stared up at me with wide eyes, probably completely mind-blown. He was acting so damn tough, dragging his guts out all over the place. How the hell did this kid dare to fight back? Where did he get this kind of power? Honestly, I wasn't scared of him at all. I was mostly just grossed out. That whole rotting, spilling guts look is seriously nauseating. What do you want to buy? I demanded in a low, cold voice. But the dead ghost just opened his ugly mouth and spat. You little punk. My face darkened instantly. I muttered a curse, and without another word, fired up the power of the old house. Thump, thump, a barrage of heavy blows slammed into him like an invisible sledgehammer, violently crushing his body. After a few brutal hits, the mangled ghost shrank down to half his size, beaten completely flat into a pathetic little heap. The way he looked at me now, all that cocky swagger was gone, replaced by pure, absolute terror. This kid is no rookie. He was probably shitting himself on the inside right now, stammering as he begged for mercy. I don't want to buy anything. I'm just browsing. Please, just let me go. As he spoke, I could tell he was cursing me 1,000,000 times over in his head. Who the heck said Old Man Lin's grandson was an easy target? The savage glint in this kid's eyes makes it damn clear he's ruthless. I thought I could make a quick buck off him. But make a buck? Yeah, right? He struggled frantically, but that crushing pressure locked him down like heavy chains. He couldn't move an inch. Finally, completely out of options, he looked up at me. What the hell do you want? You walked into my Ziyuan pavilion. So what do you think I want? I fired back with a sweet, smiling face. The brutal ghost froze, then screamed at the top of his lungs, I'm not here to buy anything. Bang, I slammed my hand hard on the table again. The heavy pressure smashed down on him once more. Too bad, you came in, so you have to buy. You're spending your money right here, right now. But that strike actually forced his stubborn temper out. He threw his head back and roared, bullcrap. And what if I don't buy anything, huh? Even your old man Lin wouldn't dare force a sale like this. Who do you think you? Wait, hey. Halfway through his rant, he suddenly started shaking like a leaf. Because I had already stood up, and as I walked toward him, I slowly peeled off my Taoist robe. Seeing my stance, it was painfully obvious I was about to wrap this ghost-burning holy gear right around his stupid head. You little brat, what are you doing? Come on man, let's not get crazy. Bro, we can talk this out. Big bro, seeing me looming right in front of him, with that glowing golden robe inches from his face, he cracked. I'll buy. The brutal ghost stared at the robe in my hands and wailed, on the verge of tears. So, what can I get you? I instantly flashed a warm, friendly customer service smile. But the guy just stammered and hesitated, unable to squeeze out a single word. Speak, I barked out violently, making him flinch hard all over again. A hilarious look of pure grievance somehow squeezed onto his terrifying, twisted face. What do you even sell? I glared at him. Incense, joss paper, gold and silver ingots. Tell me, then, give me the gold ingots, he stammered out. I spun around, grabbed a bag of gold ingots from the counter, and tossed it right at his feet. Pay up. Ah, wait, no. Hand over your ghost energy. He stared at the ingots on the floor, then looked back up at me. I was cracking my knuckles with my left hand, while gripping the holy robe tightly with my right. His lips quivered for ages. Finally, he gritted his teeth. With a sickening squelch, a bloody chunk of his own intestine dropped onto the floor, and his entire ghostly form instantly grew fainter. I shot a disgusted glare at the nasty thing, before finally focusing my mind. I released the crushing pressure, feeling his body instantly lighten. The brutal ghost snatched the bag of gold and bolted. It wasn't until he was safely out the door that he dared to scream at the top of his lungs, "You absolute monster. You extorting piece of trash. Even your grandpa wasn't this psycho. You just wait, I'm reporting your shady business." Inside the shop, I couldn't even be bothered to care. I just slammed the front doors shut and let out a long, heavy sigh. I collapsed totally limp into my rocking chair, clutching my pounding chest. Holy crap. That was way too intense. Right at that moment, a flash of crimson filled the room, and the lady ghost in red materialized right in front of me. She stared at me with wicked amusement. Well, aren't you a brave little guy? They'd even force a trade like that. I quickly straightened my Taoist robe, glaring at her warily. Aren't you afraid the horde of ghosts will storm this Ziyuan tower? Those things run on pure malice, not logic. Once you piss them off, they won't spare a single soul, she added, her voice chillingly light. After all, they died in a senseless daze. Why would they care about dying all over again? Pure malice, not logic. My heart skipped a beat. Seeing my confused expression, she effortlessly hopped up and sat on the counter. She wagged a slender, pale finger at me. Don't let their looks fool you. At their core, all things are wicked by nature. Hearing that, I frowned deeply, but I really wasn't in the mood for a philosophical debate right now. Frankly, I didn't trust a single word she said. I stepped right past her, walked over to that severed intestine, and pulled out my jade pendant. In the blink of an eye, the intestine dissolved into a wisp of black smoke and was sucked completely dry by the jade. A rush of comforting warmth instantly spread through my entire body. I let out a long sigh of relief. Well, that went pretty smoothly. Seeing that I was flat out ignoring her, the woman in red clearly got bored. With a sudden flash, she vanished. I finally let my guard down completely. Seriously, the sheer pressure that ghost gave off was suffocating. I honestly had no clue if the old mansion's protective aura even worked on her. When those two ghosts walked in earlier, she was standing right there next to them. Yet they acted like she didn't even exist. There are only two explanations for that. Either those two ghosts were completely blind, or this woman's terrifying power was way beyond anything I could ever imagine. I was definitely leaning toward the second option, which also meant getting rid of her would be damn near impossible. As for all that talk about angering the wandering spirits, I knew exactly what was going on. The moment Grandpa passed away, and the night watchman vanished, this Ziyuan tower became a prime target for every wandering ghost in town. Since that's how it is, I might as well just fight them head on. Where there's oppression, there's resistance. Worst case scenario, I'll just go a little easier on them next time. Who can blame me when I'm this desperate for ghost energy? I muttered to myself. From now on, whenever a ghost walks through that door, a deal has to be made. Even if I have to force it, if it's a game of ruthlessness, we'll see who's truly more wicked. I leaned back in my chair, turning it all over in my mind, until I drifted off to sleep without even realizing it. That is, until a blast of freezing wind shocked me awake. The second I opened my eyes, the woman in red was standing right over me, her lips pushed into a slight pout. She curled her finger, beckoning me. Great, the damn woman was back to collect her dues. I grabbed my phone and checked the time. It was almost dawn. I let out a defeated sigh, stood up, and slipped half of my Taoist robe off my shoulder. Hesitating for a second, I leaned in. With one deep breath, she sucked out my energy. As I stumbled back, my legs turned to absolute jelly. My head was spinning and my vision blurred. The woman in red wiped her lips with a satisfied smirk, flashed me a flirtatious wink, and vanished into thin air. Right on cue, a rooster crowed in the distance, chasing the evil spirits away. I let out a huge breath of relief, stumbled back to my bedroom, and collapsed onto the bed. I gently rubbed the jade pendant in my hand. Suddenly, a soft, green light seeped right into my bones, flowing all the way down into my core. Not only did it instantly refill all the vital energy she had just sucked out of me, but that wave of heat inside me actually more than doubled. I tried channeling it, and a rush of warmth instantly covered 1/3 of my entire body, before running out of steam and pulling back into my core. Just a few more times, and this energy might just fill my entire body. I closed my eyes, silently reciting the midnight noon-yang severing mantra. The heaven-defying power of the heavenly origin jade was fully unleashed. If it weren't for these two internal boosts, relying on my own hard training, God knows how long it would take. Sigh, what a pity, only one unlucky sucker showed up the whole night. I suddenly felt a little regretful. Regretful that way too few ghosts came last night. If there were just a few more, maybe, by tonight, I could have trained that energy to cover my entire body. Then, I'd be kicking evil spirits left and right, punching vicious ghosts, and the one I'd beat the hardest would be that female ghost in red. Not only would I beat her, I'd pin her down, and gag her mouth. Looking down at her, I'd say, "Didn't you love sucking the life out of people? Come on, try sucking it from me." Right in the middle of my sweet daydream, I casually glanced at my phone. That employer still hadn't called back. He shung, I muttered softly, falling asleep with a lingering sense of worry. Meanwhile, the first light of dawn broke across the horizon, and from the deep shadows, the faint whispers of ghosts could be heard. Damn it, is this kid really that insane? Forcing trades like that? How dare he? Isn't he afraid we'll snap? When I go crazy, even a passing dog would get a bite out of me. Oh, the sun's up. Let's get out of here. Hurry, go. Just wait until nightfall. We'll strike back together. We'll bite him to death. As the sun fully rose, a heavy, tense atmosphere hung over a top-tier private hospital in Yanbei. Inside the luxury ward lay one man and two women. On the bed nearest to the door was a deathly pale man. His eyes were sunken, surrounded by pitch-black circles. Even though he was in a deep coma, his body would randomly twitch and tremble. Sometimes, he would struggle and bare his teeth, his gums so horribly bloodshot they looked ready to burst. A few nurses tried to pin him down, but the second they touched his skin, they instantly yanked their hands back in sheer terror. His skin is so cold. Director, it's freezing, like a block of solid ice. The old man, addressed as the director, kept his eyes glued to the medical monitors. He ordered in a grim voice, "Keep administering the sedatives." "Yes, sir," but as the needle went in, the man only stayed calm for a few mere seconds, before he started thrashing around like a maniac again. His arms twisted backward at horrifying angles, as if he was trying to pry himself off the hospital bed. Witnessing this nightmare, everyone in the room gasped in cold shock. Never taking his eyes off the patient, the old director drew in a sharp, deep breath. He spoke, yet no one dared to back down, because the person lying on that bed was none other than the chairman of Yanbei's top financial empire, the He Group, He Tianshang. Alongside his wife and daughter. Suddenly, a nurse shrieked in panic. "She's awake, she's awake, the young miss is waking up." On the hospital bed right in front of him, a young girl had her delicate brows knotted tightly together, as if she had just lived through unimaginable absolute terror. Her eyelids twitched violently, before finally snapping open. A blood-curdling scream of pure horror echoed through the entire ward. Meanwhile, I woke up after sleeping for less than 2 hours. I just couldn't shake off my anxiety about my employer. Visiting the wrong grave in the underworld is just like getting into the wrong bridal sedan in the living world, an absolute disaster. Now, I hadn't just offended that female ghost in red, but also He Shang, the one who was actually supposed to receive the incense offerings. I frantically dug out the ancient book my grandpa left behind, and started cramming every method I could find to deal with ghosts. I was already bracing myself for the absolute worst. Ghosts fear willow branches. Spirits fear peach wood branches. I muttered to myself, silently memorizing every word as I flipped through the pages. Looking like a total straight-A student. But right at that moment, my phone suddenly started ringing. I picked it up without even thinking. "Hello? Number 8, Gongyuan West Street, Chinwai District. I'll be waiting for you right here." An incredibly weak girl's voice came through the phone, and it hit me right away. It was my client, He Yawen. Looks like the exact thing I was dreading actually happened. "I'm on my way." I hung up and rummaged through the shop for ages. In the end, I just grabbed a backpack and stuffed my Taoist robe inside. The old mansion's power only works inside the shop. Once I step outside, I'm on my own. Those willow twigs and peach wood branches from the ancient books, they all need real spiritual energy to work. If a normal person uses them, they'd still have to survive the ghost fighting back. But hey, nothing bad can happen in broad daylight, right? I really didn't want to go, but I started this mess. So I had to see it through. Right before I left, I grabbed a burlap sack, stuffed it with incense and paper money as a peace offering, then caught a cab to number 8, Gongyuan West Street. The moment I got there, I spotted her, a girl sitting under a patio umbrella outside the cafe. Even from a distance, I could just tell something was seriously wrong with her. While I was still figuring things out, a bunch of huge guys in black suits swarmed me from all sides. Before I even realized what was happening, a pair of hands grabbed me hard from behind. Oh, crap, my heart sank, but before I could even say a word, someone clamped a hand over my mouth, and the goons boxed me in. They dragged me straight over to the patio umbrella, and it wasn't until then that I finally got a good look at her. She was actually wearing a hospital gown. She looked pretty young, with really delicate features. But her face was terrifyingly pale. She just radiated this pure, utter exhaustion. Are you He Yawen? I asked, a bit hesitant. Ling Mu, 21 years old, dropped out of college in your sophomore year, came back to the old district, and took over your grandpa's paper craft shop. You barely scrape by selling incense and paper money. You eat maybe one meal a day. He Yawen just stared dead at me. Her voice was weak, but you could hear the boiling anger hiding right underneath. I was totally stunned. I literally just stepped out the door, and they already had a full background check on me. Especially that barely scraped by part. I awkwardly rubbed my nose. Damn, they were spot on. Last year, there were times I only ate once every 2 days. Looking at how awful she looked, as for what actually happened to her, I already had a pretty good guess. And since I'm the type to own up to my mistakes, and take my lumps like a man, I just came right out and said it. Give me your hand. Trying to remember what I'd read in those ancient books, I reached out and gently grabbed her arm. He Yawen was clearly furious, but she hesitated, and actually didn't pull away. She even shot a warning glare at the goons who were about to jump me. Right now, she looked exactly like a drowning victim, desperate to grab onto any lifeline she could find. If I was just some cheap con artist, I'd definitely have to pay for what I did to her. But if I could actually fix this, then I was exactly the lifeline she needed. I honestly wasn't thinking that far ahead, though. I just focused that wave of heat inside me right into my fingertips. I slowly guided it into her body, and instantly, this freezing, sinister chill pushed back against my hand. But my heat slowly started pushing the cold away. It's working. I let out a massive sigh of relief. This dark energy inside her, it felt exactly like when that girl ghost in the red dress was torturing me. Pretty damn similar, actually. Just a lot weaker. And as for He Yawen, she instantly felt a sudden rush of warmth wrap right around her arm. The bone-chilling cold sweeping through her body seemed to melt away a bit. Phew, she couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. A visible touch of color returned to her face. Seeing this, I was just about to pull my hand back, and tentatively asked, feeling any better? But who knew she'd react even faster? She grabbed my wrist in a flash, and absolutely refused to let go. You really can deal with these things, she said, her face full of anxiety. Come with me to the hospital right now and save my parents. Hearing this, my heart dropped. Look, saving them isn't the hard part. But what I'm doing is just a band-aid fix. The real problem is that old ghost. Once we leave my paper craft shop, I honestly don't know if I can handle him. Before I could even open my mouth, the burly men in black around us started cracking their knuckles. Whoa, hey, let's not get violent. I quickly stumbled back a few steps, eyes wide with caution. Miss He, burning offerings at the wrong grave was my fault. I am truly sorry, and I'm totally willing to take responsibility. But, I chuckled awkwardly, wanting to admit I wasn't sure I could pull this off. But the words just got stuck in my throat. I have my own difficulties. Could you just hold on a second? As soon as the words left my mouth, He Yawen's face instantly flushed bright red, purely out of anger. She didn't say a word, she just gave a single look, and the muscle around us closed in. Not far away, a whole fleet of black luxury cars rolled up. The license plates were all matching triple digits. Oh man, this whole setup meant they were about to drag me away by force. Listen up, kid, as long as you get the job done, the He group will make it more than worth your while. But if you screw this up, Lakeview Bay will be your graveyard. The massive guy holding my arms growled his threat. I didn't really care about the threat, though. Instead, my ears caught one very specific keyword. The He Group, the absolute top corporation in Yanbei. With hundreds of billions in assets, they're the ultra-rich elites that everyone knows about. I looked again at the fleet of luxury cars and bodyguards, and suddenly, a massive rush of adrenaline hit my brain. It was the raw power of being broke. Wait, why didn't you just say it was the He Group earlier? Keeping things so vague makes it really hard for us to work together. I shoved the huge guy next to me away, and under everyone's totally confused stares, I spun around. My entire vibe shifted instantly. Helping others is my greatest virtue. Owning up to my mistakes is my life's motto. And most importantly, serving the He Group is my absolute duty. I declared with absolute certainty, grabbing my burlap sack and slinging it over my shoulder. Which car am I getting into? Don't just stand there, let's go. The crowd watched me practically sprinting toward the cars, completely stunned and unable to process what just happened. Miss? A bodyguard gently asked as he supported He Yawen. Let's go. He Yawen shook her head. She really had no other choice right now, so she quickly got into the car. I was sitting in the stretch limo, completely surrounded by a bunch of bodyguards glaring daggers at me. Even though it was super awkward, my mind was racing with plans. Honestly, going up against that old ghost He Shengsheng, I really didn't have total confidence. I still needed more time, but if I'm dealing with a literal cash cow like the He Group, then that changes everything. After all, being broke is the best kind of motivation. It forces a guy to grow up overnight. Look, old man, he can be completely in the wrong. But at the end of the day, I just burned offerings at the wrong grave. It's not like we have some deep blood feud. I kept rationalizing it in my head, while nervously sorting through the paper gold and silver ingots in my sack. Well, that is definitely a sincere enough apology. A little while later, the convoy pulled up to a private hospital out in the suburbs. The second we got out, He Yawen walked straight up to me, her voice heavy. Are you sure you can handle this? Hearing that, I frowned slightly. Let us go up and take a look first. I cannot promise anything else, but I can at least make your parents feel a bit better. We will figure out the rest later. I threw that over my shoulder, and headed straight for the elevator. By the time we reached the second floor, I did not even need a guide. I could already feel a bone-chilling cold gathering in the hospital room at the end of the hall. Without another word, I grabbed my bag and strode right over. How did he know the boss and his wife were in there? One of the bodyguards muttered in confusion. Seeing this, He Yawen finally let her guard down a little, her eyes getting teary. The past 2 days had almost completely crushed her. She gathered herself and was just about to follow me, when suddenly, shouting erupted from the room, and the loudest voice was mine. Uncle John, quick, go see what is happening. He Yawen yelled, hurrying over with someone supporting her. Inside the room, a doctor was shielding the bed, and a few others were blocking my way. Hey kid, this is a state-of-the-art incubator. Back off. Get out of my way. I snapped back in annoyance. My eyes locked dead onto the middle-aged man on the bed. He was sealed inside some kind of machine, looking like a roast duck. Sure, the thing looked high-tech, but to my senses, the guy was practically reeking of dark, deathly energy. He was already frozen solid like a block of ice. Give it 3 days tops, and he is completely dead. Just move out of the way. I will show you guys a little miracle. It will just take a second. I tried to reason with them, but to the doctors, I just sounded like a total quack. Bullshit, get out, throw him the hell out of here. A couple of doctors teamed up to shove me out the door. But right at that moment, He Yawen and the head of the hospital showed up. Stop it, all of you. The old director bellowed. The doctors immediately started to complain, but He Yawen pulled the director aside and quickly whispered something to him. I ignored the whole commotion by the door, and struggled to pry open that so-called incubator. The second I touched the man, a jolt of freezing, dark energy made me shiver. Damn it. Something is seriously wrong here. This dark energy is completely off the charts. I turned around, just in time to see the old director pointing at his doctors. You lot, step outside for now. Once they reluctantly left the room, He Yawen rushed over to my side. How is it? Is it bad? I pinched the bridge of my nose. Go find me some willow branches. I need fresh shoots from an old stump. The more leaves, the better. You can grab some from the landscaping downstairs. He Yawen blinked in surprise. Never mind, I will just go myself. I spun around to sprint out, but a bodyguard at the door instantly blocked my way. Another guard turned and dashed out instead. Less than a minute later, the big guy came rushing back, clutching a massive pile of willow branches. I reached out, ripped off a few good ones, and gripped them tightly in my hands. I could still faintly hear the disdainful snickers from those doctors by the door. Damn it, I muttered under my breath. Well, it's not like I pointed fingers. But those doctors definitely took it personally, and all of their faces darkened instantly. I turned around and shoved the medical equipment aside. Gripping the willow branch, I whipped it viciously against the middle-aged man's body. Smack, a sharp crack echoed out. But a second later, an eerie hiss echoed through the ward. It was clearly just a soft willow branch, but when it struck his body, it sounded like a red-hot iron sizzling against a block of ice. That ear-piercing sizzle drained the color from everyone's faces outside the door. The bodyguards immediately shielded He Yawen behind them, their faces full of shock and panic. What was that sound? It's making my scalp tingle. That kid is definitely just playing cheap tricks. One doctor insisted stubbornly. But it looks so real to me. Look, that willow branch is literally smoking where it hits him. All of you, shut up. The old hospital director scolded, ordering all the medical staff to step out. Then, he looked at He Yawen with a complicated expression and gently shook his head. I've encountered people like him before in my life, but I'm just a humble doctor. I never had the connections to reach them. I didn't expect Miss He to be so resourceful, to actually track down someone from that world. A person from that hidden world. He Yawen's heart skipped a beat, and she instinctively glanced over at me. She watched as I lashed him, whip after whip. With every strike, an invisible burst of cold, dark energy rose from the middle-aged man's body, vaporizing into thin air. It was working. Once the dark energy on his body had mostly faded away, I finally lowered the willow branch. By now, the deathly pallor on the man's face had faded, and his complexion was slowly returning to normal. Hey, come take a look at him, I called out to the old director. The old director rushed over to check his vitals, while I moved over to the other hospital bed. Lying there was an impeccably groomed woman, though her face was just as ghastly pale. Fortunately, the dark energy clinging to her wasn't as heavy. After a few solid lashes, I forcefully scattered the remaining bad energy with my bare hands. The effect was immediate. The woman's eyelids fluttered, and she bolted upright. She subconsciously grabbed onto me in sheer panic. He Yawen burst into tears and ran over. Startled by her sudden wailing, I quietly pulled my hand free. I watched the mother and daughter hug each other and cry their eyes out. Phew, I took a deep breath and walked over to the doorway of the ward. At least the current situation finally gave me some peace of mind, but my brow didn't unfurrow in the slightest. Just what kind of deep-seated grudge would drive this He Shengsheng to torment his own descendants like this? I instinctively reached for a cigarette, only to remember I had already quit smoking. Half an hour later, He Yawen walked over to me, gently rubbing her red, tear-stained eyes. Just call me Lin Mo, I said with a faint smile. Then, my face quickly turned serious again. Tell me, what exactly happened to you guys before this? She took a moment to steady herself, then sat down right beside me. Her shoulders were still trembling slightly. It was on the night of the Ghost Festival. Just after 12 o'clock at night, he came back. We were suddenly hit by a bone-piercing chill, and we could hear these heavy, dragging footsteps right by our ears. Step by step, it felt like it was getting closer and closer. I gathered my courage and walked out of the room, but no matter how fast I ran, those footsteps were always right in front of me, always getting closer and closer. I couldn't see him, but I could feel him, right in front of my face. Saying this, He Yawen suddenly grabbed her head, seeming to fall into absolute terror. I, on the other hand, was totally used to it. What's the big deal? I've been held down and kissed by a ghost, and I've even had guts thrown right in my face. So, did you actually make contact with him? Right now, I just want to figure out He Shengsheng's attitude. He Yawen looked up and first nodded her head. Then she shook it. I'm not sure what exactly happened. I really can't explain it. I was just so scared. But I can't remember the details. How could she forget something like that? I frowned. Something just didn't feel right. Every move a ghost emperor makes is driven by resentment. So why is He Shengsheng tormenting his own family like this? What exactly is his goal? I just couldn't figure it out. Do you have time to come with me right now? Are we going to fight him? He Yawen asked immediately. Not necessarily to fight. At the end of the day, all of this happened because I visited the wrong grave. Naturally, I should be the one to step up. We'll try reasoning first, then use force if we have to. I stood up. Get him, and you're coming with me to 2 places. Where to? He Yawen immediately stood up, looking at me with pleading eyes. I looked at her helpless expression, and twitched my mouth. I still preferred that cold and bossy attitude she had earlier. Soon, our convoy arrived outside a villa. The guys in black suits were a lot more polite this time, opening the car door for me on their own. This is my house. He Yawen stood to the side staring at the villa, her eyes filled with pure fear. I looked up and secretly took a deep breath. As expected of the He Corporation, a massive mansion right in the center of the city. Other people try to live close to the CBD, but this guy just built his house right in the middle of it. Filthy rich bastard, I scoffed in my head, though my face remained completely deadpan. Don't panic. I glanced at the bodyguards next to me, hesitated for a second, then spoke up. Give me a cigarette. The bodyguard froze for a moment, then quickly pulled out a pack of chungwa and handed it over. Oh wow, premium smokes. My eyes lit up. Another bodyguard next to him even whipped out a lighter and sparked it up for me on the spot. I didn't hold back, taking a massive drag, letting it hit the back of my throat and deep into my lungs. Before I crossed over to this world, I was a heavy smoker. But after crossing over, I just kept getting poorer and poorer, to the point where I could only sigh and realize that poverty really can cure any addiction. But now, I secretly sneaked a glance at He Yawen, a top-tier financial dynasty. Holy crap, I'm gonna be rich. I took another huge drag of my cigarette, holding it in until my eyes rolled back, and then flicked the butt away. I started strutting toward the villa with big steps. Behind me, He Yawen didn't understand my weird behavior. Looking in confusion at Uncle Zhang, the head bodyguard, Uncle Zhang recalled the background check he ran on me. Scoffing inwardly, this kid is so broke he can't even afford to smoke. Once inside the villa, I cleared my mind and sensed the surroundings. The dark energy here was surprisingly low. I took a lap around the place, and finally found the spot where the lingering dark energy was thickest. I ripped open the burlap sack. I directly laid out a row of gold and silver paper ingots, then lit 3 sticks of incense for the old man. I bowed slightly, calling out his name in a soft whisper. In my hands, I formed a spirit channeling seal I'd learned from my grandpa's old book, feeling a wave of heat surging through my veins. I called out several times, but absolutely nothing happened. Not a damn peep. Instead, He Yawen and a squad of bodyguards just crowded around me, doubt written all over their faces. Feeling a bit awkward, I broke the hand seal and straightened my posture. Time for Plan B, I chanted. The living approach your resting place, ignoring taboos and failing our manners. Today we come bearing gifts, paving your way with gold and silver, building bridges with paper money. We beg for your generous forgiveness. Please, spare your descendants. With that said, I tossed another handful of paper money into the air. I paced a full circle around the room, watching the 3 sticks of incense nearly burn out. All done, I turned and waved at He Yawen, who quickly hurried over. That should do it, I muttered, pulling out a chungwa cigarette. I took a deep drag right into my lungs. Damn, I haven't smoked in a year. Still not quite used to it. Humans offer incense, and ghosts accept the gifts. Honestly, it's just like basic social etiquette. Since he took the offerings, it means he won't be too hard to deal with. He Yawen finally got the picture. Now he knew why I kept staring at those paper ingots. Oh, so that's how it works. So, we're safe now? He let out a massive sigh of relief. We're not done yet. Come with me to another spot. With the cigarette dangling from my lips, I headed straight for the luxury car. Uncle Zhang watched my casual, nonchalant attitude, his eyebrows locked in a deep frown. But remembering how I'd used a single willow branch to wake a dying man back at the hospital, he couldn't help but bite his tongue. In the blink of an eye, afternoon rolled around. Shengyuan Cemetery. I brought He Yawen straight to the exact grave I'd mistakenly visited before. Grave number 1107. I locked eyes with the funeral portrait on the tombstone. An old man, completely bald, his skeletal face covered in deep, harsh wrinkles. His eyes were sunken in so weirdly, like 2 hollow black holes. It was incredibly unsettling. Just one glance was enough to make me look away. He looked vicious, radiating an unspeakable ferocity. It felt like icy needles stabbing into me, making my entire back tense up. This time, you do it yourself. Offer incense to your grandpa with absolute sincerity. Butter him up as much as you possibly can. I don't care if you have to lie through your teeth. The sweet talk is what actually matters, I told Yawen, who was now kneeling on the dirt. But there was one brutal truth I kept to myself. He Shengshang's vicious nature had erupted simply because he missed his incense offerings. Sure, I get being mad, but to ruthlessly torment your own flesh and blood like this? Unless, I shook my head, standing off to the side with my cigarette. My eyes stayed glued to the yin-yang paper ingots on the ground. And man, He Yawen was really putting on a show. Whether it was genuine grief or just pure terror, tears were streaming down his face as he burned the paper money. We dragged this out until late afternoon, watching the sun slowly dip below the horizon. I signaled for him to pack it up. The dark energy in this Shengyuan cemetery was getting way too heavy. It was basically a damn ghost nest. So, is this finally over? He Yawen looked up at me, his voice now filled with absolute trust. We're good. I made the offerings and apologized, and you groveled and admitted your mistakes. We played by all the rules of etiquette. Ghosts aren't just mindless bullies, you know. I said thoughtfully. He Yawen opened his mouth to reply. He seemed like he wanted to say something, but in the end, he kept his mouth shut. Once we got outside the cemetery, I glanced back at the entrance. A bunch of guys in their 30s and 40s were standing guard. I remember last time I was here, there was just some toothless old man. But I didn't pay it much mind and just hopped right into the car. Inside, I lazily leaned back against the leather seat, feeling pretty damn good about myself. I had finally dealt with a massive headache. Little did I know, the second we drove off, that group at the gate locked their eyes right on our car. He's clearly just a kid who hasn't even entered the Tao yet. But his young energy is completely off the charts. What a great prospect. We should keep a close eye on him. Who knows, we might just be able to recruit him into our department. Wait, no. Why does he reek of yin energy? Right as they were chatting, a panicked voice suddenly crackled through the walkie-talkie. Crap, we've got a situation up on the mountain. Damn it, everyone, gather up and head up the mountain. Meanwhile, over at the He family villa, a bizarre, muffled bang echoed through the room. The yin and yang paper ingots I had set up earlier exploded right out of thin air. They turned into a pile of ash, and the spirit money was shredded to absolute pieces in midair. Back on my end, I rushed as fast as I could and finally made it back to the old alley before dark. That filthy rich bastard doesn't know the first thing about manners. I busted my ass for him, and all I get is a simple thank you? I grumbled to myself, slapping my thigh in frustration. He should have at least written me a damn check. Cursing under my breath, I ran into the paper offering shop. I expertly lit up a cigarette and took a deep drag right into my lungs. It felt so good my eyes practically rolled back in my head. Man, nothing hits the throat quite like a premium smoke. So smooth you don't even cough. But then, I thought about it again. I traded a whole bag of spirit money for these cigarettes, and suddenly, I wasn't feeling so happy anymore. Honestly, the worst thing you can do is overthink and compare yourself to others. I leaned back in my chair, and picked up a book again. He Shengshang's mess was finally out of the way, but my technique was still way too rusty, and that spirit channeling seal wasn't exactly easy to use either. Is it just because my skills aren't up to par, or what? The more I thought about it, the more something felt off. I couldn't shake the feeling that this whole thing had gone way too smoothly, or maybe. I subconsciously pinched the bridge of my nose and opened the ancient book. Before I transmigrated, reading used to put me right to sleep. But ever since crossing over, I somehow kicked that habit. With a female ghost demanding her daily toll of my vital energy, I don't exactly have the luxury of slacking off. Plus, I absolutely have to claw my way out of this poverty. Thinking about that just fired me right up. I buried my head in the books. Hey there, handsome. A seductive voice suddenly brushed against my ear. I jerked my head to the side, my heart skipping a beat. But I quickly collected myself. I'm not paying my dues until the rooster crows, I said defensively, immediately burying my face back in the book. The lady in red gave me a slow once-over. I had forgotten to put on my Taoist robes. A flicker of pure greed flashed in her eyes, and she subconsciously reached out her hand. But then, she noticed something was off. Even though I was pretending to be completely absorbed in my reading, I was keeping a razor-sharp eye on her from my peripheral vision. And my other hand was hidden right under my knee. gripping my Taoist robes as tight as I could. "You sneaky little thing," she giggled softly. Even her tone had changed. "Are you trying to play mind games with me? Testing to see if I'd break our little agreement and swallow you whole?" My chest tightened with panic, but I kept pretending I couldn't hear her. I just stayed focused on the book. Yeah, it was a pretty amateur test on my part. But when you're dealing with a female ghost who wants to suck the life force out of you every single day, you can never be too careful. If she's happy taking it slow and steady, I'll just treat it like taking on a mortgage. If I can pay it off, there's hope for the future. If I can't, I'll just jump off a roof. But if she's constantly out to get me, I can't exactly keep my guard up day and night. Ha ha ha. Seeing me play dumb, she circled around me a few times. Suddenly, she threw her arms right around me. My hand even twitched up a bit, but in the end, I forced it down and chose to stay perfectly still. She was watching me, and I was watching her. Handsome, I was sleeping so peacefully at Shengyuan Cemetery, and you just had to wake me up. And now you're keeping your guard up against me like this. Tell me, aren't you just awful? I watched as her hand slowly slid toward my neck. I took a deep breath and said sincerely, "I apologize for visiting the wrong grave, and I'm perfectly happy to give you my life essence, as long as we can all just keep the peace." She covered her mouth with a laugh, her fingers gently tracing my lips. "But now you've broken my heart, and ruined that sincerity." My breath hitched. Deep down, I started regretting how reckless I'd been. "I want double. I'm going to feed from you one extra time, every single day." I froze, staring at that utterly ravenous look on her face. Gathering my nerve, I said in a deep voice, "No way. Business is business. We agreed on once a day, and it stays once a day." "Is that so?" She raised a delicate eyebrow. My heart was pounding, but I kept my face deadpan. I absolutely could not lose the upper hand here. "Then I'll add one more condition." She suddenly leaned right in front of me, her red lips practically brushing against my face. During all these years I've been asleep, half asleep and half awake, I kept hearing this one name. Born of absolute evil, a ferocious spirit after death. On the seventh night, the night of the soul's return, he actually devoured a few minor ghosts alive just for trying to snatch his coffin. I'm sure you'd be very interested in this guy. The moment I heard that, my curiosity was piqued. "Who is it?" She blinked her beautiful eyes. Suddenly, she slipped right into my arms, tilting her head up to lock eyes with me. Her red lips parted slightly. "He's Shengshang." My heart instantly dropped. I took the chance to push her away, trying to act completely natural. "Those little apology tricks you pulled during the day wouldn't even fool a living person. And you actually think you can fool a ferociously evil ghost? Keep dreaming." She shrugged. As soon as those words left her mouth, I gasped sharply, seeing me totally lost in thought. A sly glint flashed in her eyes. "It's a deal then. Once a day from now on, got it?" I completely ignored her, but a deep sense of dread was growing inside me. Her words seemed to finally explain why He Yawen was so hesitant to speak. Normally, when a ghost kills, they don't leave any survivors. But He Shengshang deliberately chose to torment his own blood relatives. Add to that the fact that I tried burning paper twice and still couldn't contact him. There's only one explanation. He's incredibly vengeful, and purely evil. He's not doing this out of lingering resentment. This is pure, unadulterated revenge. Which means I'm absolutely screwed for visiting the wrong grave. I raised a hand and slapped my forehead. The more I think about it, the more messed up it gets. Then again, maybe this female ghost is just trying to scare me on purpose. Whatever, I'll just take it one step at a time. The worst case scenario is that he comes looking for me. I stood up. Since I'm sitting right here in my own paper craft shop, I suddenly felt a surge of total badassery. Damn it, if he's so tough, let him try to fight his way into my Ziyuan Lu. I turned around, grabbed a wooden board and a brush, and scribbled down a line of text. I hung it at the door. As soon as I looked up, I saw a massive, dense crowd of dark shadows gathered outside. I stepped out the door. Both sides jumped in shock. I forced myself to act brave, hung up the sign, and as I turned to go back inside, I subconsciously glanced back. Deep in the alley, faintly visible, I could see a shroud of mist. The Night Wanderer. My heart tightened. I slammed the door shut. Outside, the swarm of ghostly shadows crowded around again. Did you guys see that? That kid's eyes were totally ruthless just now. There's a whole bunch of his vicious ghosts out here, and he didn't even flinch when he saw us. If that isn't hardcore, I don't know what is. Let's see what he wrote first. Is it a letter of surrender? What does this even say? I've forgotten all my words. Get someone who knows how to read over here. A little ghost holding his own head squeezed through the crowd. The head in his arms opened its mouth and read, "Old shop open for business. 70% off everything." The ghosts fell dead silent. What does 70% off mean? All the ghosts looked utterly bewildered. That gruesome ghost with his guts hanging out stared at the incense and candles and muttered, "Who cares what it means? Let's just rob the place." The moment he said that, all the ghostly shadows instantly riled up. "You go." A ghostly shadow glared at the gruesome ghost. He froze. Before he could even speak, he realized all the ghosts around him had gone dead quiet. A primal, malicious vibe began to spread. "Hurry up and go. If you don't, we're gonna eat you." The gruesome ghost's lips trembled. In a daze, he seemed to recall a sliver of memory from when he was alive. That bastard cheated, and even hid my... He inexplicably let out a vicious snarl, and his entire ghostly form started going completely berserk. Right at that moment, a furious roar echoed from me inside the shop. "What the hell? If you aren't here to buy anything, get the hell away from my store." Instantly, the terrifying atmosphere was shattered. All the ghostly shadows started chattering again. "Wait, where were we? Taoist, you go. You were the one who went last night." A few ghostly shadows shoved the gruesome ghost right to the door. He looked completely bewildered. Wasn't I just remembering something? It wasn't until he got to the door that he realized something was off. He turned his head, about to curse them out, but was met with several thumbs-ups. "Look sharp. Don't embarrass us. We're counting on you." Flattered by the sudden praise, the gruesome ghost immediately broke into a grin. Puffed up with pride, he looked triumphantly toward the shop. Meanwhile, inside the room, I was getting impatient. Hearing the endless chattering outside with absolutely zero ghosts coming in, I finally yelled out. Luckily, it wasn't long before I felt a ghost approach. I looked up, and frowned. "Why is it you again?" Hearing this, the gruesome ghost didn't say a single word. Smack! He whipped a chunk of his guts right onto the floor. I didn't hold back either. I slammed my hand on the table, and the power of the paper crafting shop forced him flat on his face. The front door slammed shut. "Hey, you're forcing a sale." "Oh, right, I remember now. You're forcing a sale. Let go of me, I'm gonna sue you." I glared at him in pure annoyance. This guy seemed pretty terrifying before, but now, the more I look at him, the more worthless he seems. "Alright, old rules. You walk into the shop, you have to buy something." I slammed the table a few times, making him cower down like a scared little mouse. "Spit it out, what are you buying?" "2 candles, he stammered, shaking all over. I just bared my teeth and didn't say much. I pulled out 2 white candles and tossed them over. He hesitated, glancing down at his own guts. Gritting his teeth, he ripped off a finger-length piece and tossed it to me. He grabbed the candles and was about to leave. "Hold on," I called out, stopping him. I dragged over a bag of gold paper ingots. "Here, this bag is on the house. Consider it compensation for being my first regular. Let's say yesterday's and today's deals are all at a 70% discount." The mangled ghost froze, staring at me in total confusion. "What's compensation?" I couldn't be bothered to explain. I just dumped the ingots out. "Look, you caused trouble yesterday. And I forgive you now. Let's just call it making a friend, alright? Go on." He tilted his head, scooped up a handful of ingots, then looked at the rest and just grabbed the whole pile. After all, the female ghost had warned me before. Plus, this guy flipped between looking dumb and looking vicious. He obviously wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and I really didn't want to get a reputation for extorting my customers. "This is the 70% discount." He hugged the ingots and shuffled out, looking half confused. A dense crowd of dark shadows outside swarmed him immediately. "How'd it go?" "Hey, your guts are only a little bit shorter. You actually managed to rob him. See, I told you guys. Let's all go rob the place." The mangled ghost listened to the chaotic voices around him. He subconsciously wanted to agree, but then thought about it and realized that wasn't right. "No, I didn't rob this." The crowd of ghosts all gave him a blank, confused stare. "I bought 2 candles. This is the 70% discount. Buy first, then rob." "Oh, so this 70% discount is actually gold paper ingots." "Quiet down, everyone," he made it very clear. "Buy things to rob the 70% discount. Once you buy, you get to rob." The noisy chatter blended into a massive uproar, while the mangled ghost just wandered off on his own. He quietly stopped, picked up a candle, and took a bite out of it. Occasionally, he would crush a gold ingot in his hand. In a daze, his face looked like he was remembering something from the past. But ultimately, he just slumped onto the ground in despair, as if he had forgotten everything all over again. Meanwhile, a dripping wet, dark shadow couldn't wait any longer and bolted straight into the shop. Shouting excitedly, "Buy things and rob the discount." I looked up, and saw him stumbling in, thick strands of black sludge oozing from his mouth. Ugh, so disgusting. This guy was a drowned ghost. Just as I was debating whether to suppress him first, he forced a straight face and roared at me, "Hand over the discount." I was totally baffled, when a barrage of curses erupted from outside the door. You have to buy something first before you can rob the discount. Do you even know how this works? If you can't do it, step aside and let me. The drowned ghost was yelled at so badly he shivered all over. The black sludge dripped off him and pooled onto the floor like a broken pipe. He stammered a frantic reply, and looking back at me, he forced a tough expression onto his face. "Give me 2 sticks of ebony incense, and they gotta be boiled in lotus leaves." I dug out 2 long black incense sticks from the cabinet and handed them over. He snatched them up, then turned around and violently spat out a mouthful of thick, slimy liquid. Damn it, I cursed in my head. This is even more disgusting than the guts. But that slime was also pure ghost energy. I reluctantly collected it. When I looked up, the drowned ghost was still standing there clutching his incense, not leaving. Instead, he just stared dead straight at the gold ingots by my feet. "I want this box." I picked up a gold ingot, and his eyes instantly lit up. He suddenly reached out, "Give me that," then he bolted right out the door. He even shouted, "I grabbed the 70% discount." That dumb little brat just held it right out for me to grab. My mouth twitched in annoyance. Just as I was about to say something, another ghost impatiently rushed in. A huge smile immediately spread across my face. Things seemed to be heading in the right direction. "What can I get for you?" I asked cheerfully. My customer this time was a scorched ghost. He only had half his upper body left, with an eerie green glow swirling around the missing, burnt flesh. He hesitated, stammering nervously, "B-boss, I want." That violently trembling, shrill voice sent an uncomfortable shiver right down my spine. Seeing me shiver, he immediately covered his mouth, looking exactly like a scolded, timid little housewife. "Never mind, boohoo, I don't want it anymore." He turned around, ready to run away. I quickly forced a warm smile. "Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to scare you, dear customer. Whatever you need, just say the word." He hesitated and looked back. Seeing my perfectly sincere face, he let out a sudden whimper and coyly buried his face in his hands. "Oh, boss, you are just too sweet." I shuddered violently, completely creeped out. I pulled out a massive pile of paper offerings for him to browse. He looked through them for ages. Finally, he daintily stuck out 2 charred, charcoal-like fingers. "I'll take some paper money flowers. I just adore these flowers. They're so colorful, but let me say this first. You are absolutely not allowed to make fun of me." I gritted my back teeth as hard as I could. No wonder people say dramatic divas are so annoying. Just look at this ridiculous ghost. It was absolutely unbearable. I grabbed a bag of paper money flowers and shoved it right over. He took it with a coquettish little wiggle, then casually plucked a ball of ghostly blue flame from his own body and tossed it onto the floor as payment. "Oh, boss," he called out again. I managed a tight, forced smile. I turned my head away, took a deep breath, and looked back at him. He still hadn't left. He was just standing there, covering his face, acting all coy and bashful. "Boss, you really are a good man. But I still have to snatch that 70% discount." I frantically grabbed a handful of gold ingots. In the blink of an eye, I shoved them right at him. A sudden, freezing chill swept all the way up my arm. And when I opened my eyes, I saw that ridiculous ghost running pigeon-toed out the door, screaming, "Sisters! I got it, this boss is super sweet. Come on out and snatch the deals, girls." Left behind, I could only stand there shivering violently, while the woman in red next to me let out a sweet, delicate giggle. Honestly, compared to that guy, her laughter sounded like absolute music to my ears. Before I knew it, half the night had passed, and the smile hadn't left my face once. I ran back and forth in my Taoist robe countless times, and there were still dozens of ghosts lined up outside. "Don't rush, one at a time, everyone," I shouted, happily serving them. Seeing a bit of a commotion at the back of the line, I held up a gold ingot. The 70% discount is up for grabs. Wait, isn't the 70% discount just gold ingots? The ones you pay for are called gold ingots. The ones you snatch are the discount. We're here to snatch. The rowdy, restless shadows immediately quieted down the moment they saw the gold ingots. I chuckled to myself. If I had known these ghosts were actually so easy to deal with, I wouldn't have spent the last few days so terrified that I nearly peed my pants multiple times. But all jokes aside, I was slowly starting to figure everything out. These spirits are pretty naive. Most of them act just like little kids. But honestly, that's exactly why I don't dare let my guard down. Once that innocent vibe wears off, all that's left is pure, overwhelming malice. So, I stick to fair trades. Honest business, no matter who I'm dealing with. Deal after deal, I managed to gather up a whole lot of ghost energy. I kept at it right up until the roosters started to crow, and then, my heart just dropped. It was almost dawn, but the line of ghosts was still packed tight. Just as I started panicking about things going wrong, the sun came up, and every single ghost in line suddenly shivered. The excitement on their faces vanished in a flash, replaced by a blank, dazed look. Then, in perfect sync, they all turned around and drifted away without saying a single word. I just stood there stunned for a second, before collapsing into my chair, completely relieved. I was exhausted, but the hall was massive. Right then, the girl in the red dress quietly showed up. I was in a great mood, so I reached out and wrapped my arms right around her neck. I pulled her close and breathed it all in, draining that energy in one go. My vision went fuzzy for a second, but then I suddenly remembered something. I grabbed 2 bags and rushed to the front door. It was still pretty dark out. There was just a tiny sliver of pale light showing in the distance. I walked over to the left side of the alley, and opened up a bag packed full of gold and silver paper ingots. Then I went and did the exact same thing on the right side. By the time I got back to the shop, a thick mist had quietly rolled in on both sides of the street. When it cleared, all the ingots were gone. This kid actually shows a little respect. Way better manners than his granddad. Though I don't know why you're so easily swayed by a little brown nosing. Hey Lumpy, since when did you get bought off by such petty little bribes? Spit on that, it's called respect, and I happen to really appreciate the respect. If you hate him so much, then why the hell are you still standing guard here? Rotten, you wanna go at it again, don't you? The 2 streams of mist suddenly slammed violently into each other. Icy winds started howling, sweeping right through the entire old alleyway. Early morning finally hit. Phew, I was just laying back in my old rocking chair. I rolled over, feeling the jade pendant resting on my chest, radiating this deep, comforting warmth. Over the course of last night, I traded with 20 or 30 little ghosts, and the pendant soaked up every last drop of that ghost energy. It was completely packed. The moment the thought crossed my mind, the jade pendant instantly burst with a brilliant cyan light, and a never-ending wave of heat flooded straight into my body. I quickly started chanting the Meridian Sun Severing mantra in my head. As the technique kicked into gear, the heat inside me just kept swelling, washing over every single bone and limb. My entire body was wrapped in a glowing golden light, like ancient runes. Just as I started to wonder what was happening, the pendant suddenly floated right up to my face. A beam of pure gold light shot directly into my forehead. I don't even know how much time passed, but when I finally opened my eyes again, my whole body was burning with an intense, fiery power unlike anything I'd ever felt before. It felt so real, so solid. The second chapter of the Meridian Sun Severing mantra, the Scorching Sun spell. I took a moment to feel it out. A massive grin just spread across my face. The Crimson Sun energy was flowing through all my meridians, refining all 365 major acupoints in my body. And every single time one opens up, that Crimson Sun power doubles in strength. I mean, sure, the process is pretty slow, but with the Heavenly Origin Jade here, my training speed was through the roof. But the best part? The Crimson Sun power inside me can actually run on its own now. It wards off evil spirits without me even having to try. Damn, Grandpa really left me one hell of a treasure. I couldn't help but grab the jade pendant and give it a huge kiss. Now I've finally got some real skills to deal with ghosts. Cultivation is amazing. Gotta keep cultivating. Gotta keep cultivating. Right at that moment, the phone rang. I picked it up and took a look. It was he Yawen. There were also several missed calls. Hello? Just as I connected, Mr. Lin, you finally picked up. Her voice carried a hint of annoyance, but she quickly adjusted her tone. Do you have time right now? Could you come out to the door for a second? Confused, I walked over to the door. Peeking out, I saw 4 or 5 bulky guys in black suits standing outside, blocking the door like a bunch of grim reapers. A fire instantly flared up in my chest. What's the big idea here, boys? I raised an eyebrow and shouted. Uncle Jong, the leader, was wearing sunglasses. His voice was cold and detached. We are only responsible for bringing you over. I couldn't be bothered wasting my breath on them, so I just started blasting into the phone. Wen, what the hell is this supposed to mean? Before I could finish, Uncle Jong shoved a hand right under my nose. This rude gesture made my face darken. A string of heavy curses almost slipped out, but then he flipped his hand over. A thick stack of cash brushed past the tip of my nose. That sweet smell of fresh ink made me take a deep, intoxicating breath. I instantly swallowed my curses back down, and spoke into the phone with a gentle tone. Miss He, sending people to my door out of nowhere is, well, it's a bit sudden. I haven't even prepared myself yet. Suddenly, another hard object was pressed against my chest. I looked down, glowing bright red. It was a whole carton of Chunghwa cigarettes. Mr. Lin. Uncle Jong gave a faint smile. His smile carried a hint of mockery, but did I give a damn? Miss He, whatever you need, just say the word. I, Lin Mu, am not a guy who beats around the bush. I'll head over right now. I snatched the cash, tucked the cigarettes under my arm, hung up the phone, and dashed back into the yard. When I came back out, I walked right past Uncle Jong and his crew. Flashing a huge grin, I said, sorry for the wait, boys. My bad. Let's go. Seeing my massive change in attitude, Uncle Jong let out a quiet scoff. The bodyguards next to him also looked completely disdainful. To tough guys like them, who were hardcore materialists, all this ghost and spirit stuff was hard to swallow. I might have a few tricks up my sleeve, but they figured that was about it. Before long, we arrived back at the private hospital. I sat on a stone bench downstairs, holding a takeout box and stuffing my face. Wen had changed into an elegant long dress. Uncle Jong held an umbrella for her, and a dozen bodyguards stood behind them. They all just stood there, staring at me eat. Once I finished the boxed lunch, I pulled out a cigarette. One of the bodyguards beside me instantly offered a lighter. Phew, with the Chunghwa hanging from my lips, I took a deep drag straight to the lungs and gave a relaxed eye roll. Looking at my sloppy behavior, Wen found it a bit funny, but also felt some pity for me. But mostly, she was just anxious. Your dad still hasn't woken up? I asked, after smoking half my cigarette. She immediately sat down right next to me. Yesterday, after you left, my mom got better really fast. But my dad, all his test results are completely stable, yet he just won't wake up. Do you think it could be that? That thing is still. A trace of pure fear surfaced on her face. I didn't answer. What that female spirit said last night had already prepared me for this. Let's go take a look. I flicked my cigarette butt away. I headed straight up to the second floor. There was no one in the room except the old director and 2 nurses. I walked right up to the bed and pressed my hand directly onto the middle-aged man. In a split second, a terrifying wave of dark energy surged up from him. It sent a jolt right through me. I thought I'd cleared out all that negative energy yesterday, but once I channeled my pure young power, I realized how dead wrong I was. This guy was completely smothered in a dark, ghostly aura. He was practically rotting from the inside out. I couldn't help but click my tongue. Something felt very wrong. My senses were absolutely spot on yesterday. Next to me was Wen, who was already well enough to get out of bed. Her mom was Jung Ni. Unless, I whipped my head around, a terrible feeling creeping into my mind. Lingmu and Wen called out anxiously. Come outside with me, I ordered, pulling my hand back. I quickly strode out the door. Wen's pretty face turned completely pale from fright, and she hurried out right behind me. I pointed at her while pulling out a cigarette. Did anything go wrong when you burned the paper offerings yesterday? I demanded. She shook her head instinctively. No, I came straight to the hospital right after dropping you off. My mom's been doing so much better, too. It's just my dad, he just won't wake up. Just then, Uncle Jong chimed in. We actually got a phone call from the villa yesterday. I immediately shot him a sharp, questioning look. Uncle Jong, what kind of call? Why didn't anyone tell me about this? Wen looked over at him too, clearly confused. It was a little after 7 last night. They said that right where the paper offerings were burned at the villa. A really strange gust of wind suddenly blew through. I didn't even let him finish. I cut him off right there. Just get to the point. What did the ashes and paper end up looking like? Uncle Jong frowned. The spirit money was just flying everywhere in the air. Maybe the night wind was just too strong. Before he could even finish, I spun right around and bolted. I glanced back and yelled, "What the hell are you just standing there for? Let's go." Leaving them stunned, He Yawen's face flushed red, then completely pale from the sheer frustration. Uncle Jong tried to step in and calm things down, but He Yawen took a deep breath and immediately cut him off. "That's enough, Uncle Jong. We are going with him. Right now." Once we got inside the car, I rested my hands heavily on my thighs, my mind racing with a million dark thoughts. Where exactly are we going now? He Yawen sat close beside me, asking in a soft, shaky voice. "Shangyuan Cemetery." I closed my eyes tightly, an absolute storm raging inside my head. He Shengshang had come back again last night. My whole apology offering was completely damn useless. He hadn't accepted it at all. When a vengeful spirit wants someone dead, one night is more than enough. But out of He Yawen's family of 3, 2 of them are perfectly fine now. It's just her dad left. What the hell is his actual goal here? Seeing me sitting there in completely dead silence, He Yawen went completely pale from fear. Before long, we arrived back at Shangyuan Cemetery. It was already late in the afternoon. This damn unlucky hour again. Let's move. I took the lead, striding confidently up the hill. The moment we walked through the main gate, I suddenly froze in my tracks. My eyes locked onto a row of small buildings right off to the side. There were 2 guys sitting by the door, their faces pale as sheets. They had cigarettes dangling from their mouths and were just shivering uncontrollably. "What's wrong?" He Yawen whispered nervously. "Nothing," I muttered, pulling my gaze away. I didn't look back at them again until we were a good distance away. There was just something really off about the vibe those 2 guys were giving off. Those 2 guys are staring right at my back too. What the hell? How did this kid change so much? His young energy is radiating like a little sun. Did he master the path overnight? Forget about that. That supernatural outbreak last night almost killed a bunch of our guys. They still haven't woken up yet. How the hell did that thing get so strong? Only dead for a little over 10 years and already this fierce. What was his name again? Something? Don't even bring it up, it gives me the creeps. We barely managed to force him back down. I just hope he doesn't wake up tonight. Back at the mountain, returning to Cemetery 1107. What exactly are we supposed to do now? I stared at the tombstone and took a deep breath. Hunting a ghost. The moment I said that, He Yawen flinched in fear. Uncle Jong and the guys jumped too. Before they could even react, I suddenly bent down, slammed my hands on the tombstone, and stared dead at the photo. He Shengshang, I yelled with a cold glare, blazing yang energy covering my palms. Grandpa used to say, if humans fear ghosts by 30%, ghosts fear humans by 90%. Back then, I didn't have any powers. So being brave didn't mean squat. But now, I've actually seen some real action. He Shengshang, I roared again, pressing both hands fiercely onto the tombstone. Boom, a freezing yin wind whipped up out of nowhere, engulfing everyone. Even top-tier fighters like Uncle Jong and his crew broke out in goosebumps. What's even creepier? The photo on the tombstone seemed to come alive. Those hollow, dead eyes were staring right at them. It was my sudden, low shout that snapped everyone back to reality. Uncle Jong and the guys snapped out of it and instinctively reached for their weapons at their waists. He Yawen was deathly pale. Panting heavily, I shook my head at her. I can confirm he's turned into an evil spirit. Your grandpa is definitely a vicious one. Just this tombstone alone is radiating terrifying yin energy. But I couldn't find his soul. After saying that, I turned and started hiking down the mountain. When you guys head back tonight, make sure everyone sleeps holding a bundle of willow branches. If anything feels off, just whip each other with them. We need to survive tonight first. I whispered my instructions. Let me head back and dig through some ancient texts. I'll definitely figure out a way to deal with him. He Yawen nodded. Don't bother walking me out. You guys need to hurry back. You know my address, right? Come pick me up the second the sun comes up tomorrow. I know, you didn't answer my call this morning, so I actually went out of my way to look up your exact address. I nodded. As I turned to leave, I shot her a subtle glance from the corner of my eye. Before long, night fell. Back at the familiar bus stop, a soft, eerie voice calling out "young man" startled me. I whipped my head around, and the woman in red was standing right beside me. She was so close we almost kissed when I turned. I immediately took a half step back. I glanced at my phone. It was only just past 7 p.m. As expected of a high-level ghost, she can already roam around this early in the evening. I let out a heavy sigh in my mind. "Young man, are you scared of He Shengsheng?" She gave a seductive smile and wrapped her arm right around my neck. I didn't answer her, but my chest felt incredibly heavy. I already have the answer to what exactly He Shengsheng is trying to do. It is me. He Yawen said he forgot about what happened on the night of the Ghost Festival. The only explanation is that the Ghost Warrior extracted his memories. He wants to find me, the guy who cut off his incense offerings. Back then, he didn't know my address, so he could not come for revenge, but I have shown my face these past 2 days. Especially today, when He Yawen actually had people block the entrance to my shop. That guy probably knows my location by now. Earlier, I was even taunting him to come at me. Now that I really think about it, I might actually be chickening out. The faint, eerie voice of the female ghost in red drifted over. I shuddered and fired off 3 rapid-fire denials. Nonsense. Impossible. I did not. She looked at me with a teasing half-smile, reaching out to tap my chin. He Shengsheng did not know where you were before, so he didn't make a move. Now, barring any surprises, he should be on his way to find you. She leaned in closer, the tip of her nose brushing against my lips. Little brother, being scared is not anything to be ashamed of. I didn't argue. Instead, all my attention was on her cold, delicate nose. I even had a sudden urge to stick my tongue out and respond. Giggling, she seemed to notice what I was thinking, her enchanting eyes locking straight onto mine. Suddenly, she slowly tilted her head up, her red lips inching closer and closer to my mouth. "Want me to get rid of him for you? 10 times, and I will eat him up for you." I snapped out of it immediately and took a step back. Damn it, this stuff is seriously addictive. Though, 10 times, I could probably handle that right now. It wouldn't suck me dry, but looking at her thirsty, ravenous eyes, I absolutely cannot set this precedent. If I actually resort to selling my life essence to beg for her help, I will never be able to get rid of her for the rest of my life. No way. I firmly shook my head. I have not even met He Shengsheng face to face yet. If I just pass the buck to you right now, how the hell am I supposed to survive in this business? I straightened my back, a confident smirk touching the corners of my mouth. Whatever happens, we can talk about this later. The female ghost in red looked at me, slightly caught off guard. A hint of deeper meaning flickered in her eyes. But then, I completely changed my tune, looking at her somewhat sheepishly. "But, if I really can't handle him, we could maybe negotiate those 10 times. Though it would be great if you could give me a discount." "How about 5 times? She burst out laughing so hard she was rocking back and forth. "Little guy, and here I thought you were actually being resolute. I didn't expect you to just be a coward. Let me make this clear, 10 times is 10 times. Fixed price." I secretly curled my lip. Being able to eliminate a threat was better than anything else. I sat on the bench in silence. She just propped up her chin, staring intently at me. Her gaze made me uncomfortable. I muttered, "Right now, it is still just a guess. Maybe that guy won't even come looking for me." She leaned in with a bright smile. "So you are deliberately hiding out instead of going back, just to see if He Shengsheng will track you down to Ziyuan Pavilion?" I didn't answer, which was basically a silent admission. For the first time, a look of genuine appreciation appeared on her face. She muttered to herself, "What a cunning kid." While I waited quietly, the night grew heavy over Shengyuan Cemetery. A dark shadow, like a massive curtain, suddenly rose up and shrouded the entire cemetery. Oh crap, a supernatural awakening. It is him again. Shadows burst forth from the foot of the mountain, charging madly toward the peak, as a furious roar tore through the night sky. He Shengsheng, the cycle of life and death is decreed by heaven. Why do you still cling to this world and refuse to move on? His only answer was a massive, dark shadow crashing down. A moment later, the cemetery fell dead silent once again. A hideous, dark shadow shot out from the mountain peak, morphing into a withered old man. He drifted off into the distance. Meanwhile, scattered all across the graveyard, bodies lay sprawled everywhere. Damn it, call for backup, right now. This entity already meets the classification for a vengeful spirit. We need a Class B expert to handle this. Damn it, isn't this freaking bizarre? Every time that kid shows up, this he Shang wakes up. Is it just a coincidence? Or is that kid jinxing us? He's totally freaking jinxing us. Outside the cemetery, the old man slowly raised his head, revealing a ghastly, pale face. 57 Guihua Street, the Yin-Yang paper shop. You little brat, I'm coming for you. The night was deep, and the wind blew cold. I leaned back on the park bench and shivered, a cigarette dangling from my lips. I was right in the middle of a game. Support, stay close to me. 0 and 9? Come on, this isn't my real skill level. I can totally scale up. Oh, you mother. Suddenly, the screen went black. I got kicked out by the system. Frustrated, I tossed my phone aside. The red-dressed ghost lady studied me, looking completely baffled. This kid went from having a mere pure young body to stepping into the realm of cultivators in just 2 short nights. His adaptability is beyond human. Now that he guessed he Shang might come looking for him, he immediately put some distance between them. He didn't even go back to his shop. By staying out of the way, he perfectly avoided the danger. But he doesn't exactly look like the type to just cut and run. Hey handsome, are you planning to stay out here all night? I went silent for a moment, then fired back, hey, can I ask you something? He Shang shouldn't be able to track me down directly, right? Nope, she answered cheerfully. Her quick response made me feel like I was overthinking it. Pardon me for asking, but are you absolutely sure you're not playing me? Of course not, silly. She gave me a seductive smile and gently lifted my chin. Well, my face flushed slightly. I guess we're kind of friends now, right? I suppose so. Her eyes curved into sweet little crescents as she smiled. And since we're friends, then could you maybe stop draining my energy? Her slender fingers gently pressed against my lips. Oh, you silly boy. That's such a naive way to think. She blinked playfully. She ran her tongue over her lips, her gaze completely tantalizing. I'm going to eat you up. My face darkened instantly. I scrambled back, putting distance between us. Man, this crazy chick is definitely bad news. In the blink of an eye, midnight passed. I kept a close watch on my phone. No calls from He Yawen yet, which meant He Shang hadn't shown up there. So, going back to the paper shop was out of the question. The ghost lady in red just sat there quietly with me. She kept staring at me like I was her pet. It made my skin crawl. But hey, as long as she didn't try anything funny, she could look at me like a piece of crap for all I cared. I really couldn't be bothered to argue. I waited it out until 2 in the morning. Then, I suddenly got up and ducked into an internet cafe. This kid really isn't in a hurry at all. The ghost girl muttered to herself as she followed me inside. If you just let me drain you 10 times, I could swallow that old ghost whole. Wouldn't that be easier? I completely ignored her. I just leaned back against the plush sofa and passed out, sleeping right through until 4 in the morning. The alarm went off, and I rubbed my eyes as I rushed out of the internet cafe. The female ghost watched me hurrying about, seemingly figuring out what I was planning. He wants to wait until right before dawn to go face He Shang. That way, if things go south, he just has to stall until the rooster crows to get out safe. Pretty gutsy. Isn't he afraid of just dropping dead out there? The interest in her eyes grew even stronger. She immediately followed along. I hailed a cab, and headed straight for the old district. The old alleyway was dead quiet. The swarms of ghostly shadows from before had all vanished. In the night wind, there was a trace of dark energy that really caught my attention. It felt exactly like the one on He Yawen. Sure enough, that old geezer had been here. My heart sank, but luckily, he was already gone. It wasn't until I walked back to the papercraft shop that I finally let out a real sigh of relief. Standing outside the door, I took a careful look around. There were a few traces of dark energy left on the threshold, but the inside of the shop looked exactly the same as when I left it. Did he realize I wasn't around and just leave? I furrowed my brows, but quickly brushed that thought away. A guy who was pure evil in life and turned into a brutal spirit after death. How could he just walk away so easily? Could it be that he wasn't actually that tough? I muttered to myself, still totally clueless about it. I figured I should just go inside first, but as I walked through the door, my eyes instinctively flicked toward the pitch-black corner of the alleyway. Only then did I step inside, deep in thought. The female ghost in red drifted in right behind me. She also glanced deep into the alley. But unlike my heavy worries, she tilted her head like she was picking a fight, and muttered softly. Have I been asleep for so long that I'm out of touch? Or has the world really changed? Even the night wanderers are playing security guard now. Boom, the night wind ripped through the entire alley, instantly whipping up a massive, ghostly gale. Through the thick mist, a shadowy figure emerged, and surged right toward the papercraft shop. At the door, the ghost in red flashed a wicked smirk, and went inside without even looking back. The very second she stepped in, two massive waves of gray energy slammed into each other right outside the shop. Dust flew everywhere. That pisses me off to no end. I'm gonna rip this chick apart. Hey, chill out, don't do anything stupid. We've already fought her. If you could rip her apart, you would have done it by now. Not only is she clinging to little Mo, she actually had the guts to mock us. Are we just gonna let this slide? Call for backup. Get the cook and the blind Kane back here. Tumor, calm the heck down. We're here waiting for that certain someone. Until they show up, we don't move a single inch. Besides, this female ghost hasn't actually shown any bad intentions. No need to throw hands. Just treat it as another fated trial for the Lin kid. Walking the path of the dead means you have to deal with this stuff. After a brief silence, if it's a fated trial, then how do you explain? That little ghost who came knocking just now? You literally blasted its spirit body into pieces. He's lucky he ran so fast. Heh, well, we can actually beat that one. So obviously that doesn't count as a trial. But this female ghost, isn't it just because we can't beat her? Big mouth, you said the quiet part out loud. You're just a total coward. Who are you calling a coward? I haven't smacked you nearly enough. In an instant, the alley was once again filled with swirling dust and clashing dark energy. I could faintly make out two massive figures, brawling inside. Meanwhile, I was inside the house, completely clueless, eagerly flipping through an ancient book, hungry for answers. Just then, the woman in red floated over, her eyes locking onto the book in my hands. I didn't pay her any mind, and kept searching for clues. Suddenly, I flattened the page, my focus instantly zeroing in. The Three Curses malicious ghost. Born of pure evil, ferocious in death, bound by heavy karma, transforming into a cursed power. Ghosts of this kind have no humanity left in their hearts. They are filled with nothing but sinister malice. The three curses are bound by greed, gluttony, and hatred. I took a deep breath. My sixth sense was screaming at me. Zhe Shengshang was definitely one of these. No specific grudge, just born as pure evil. I messed up by visiting the wrong grave and provoked him. Damn it. This is going to be a fight to the death. My eyes dropped to a line of small text below. If one forms a grudge with a Three Curses malicious ghost, the only way out is deliverance. Deliverance? I pinched the bridge of my nose. I went back to flipping through the pages, reading until the rooster crowed. I snapped out of it, and looked over at the woman in red. Licked her lips. I grabbed her and pulled her straight into my arms. She froze for a second. One soul-stealing kiss. I fought back the dizziness in my head, silently reciting the Midnight Yang Severing chant a few times. I noticed she hadn't disappeared yet. Just once, right? I asked, confused. That's when she finally snapped back to reality. She smiled, licking her red lips. Well now, handsome. This is the first time you've been so forward. You made my heart skip a beat. I almost didn't know how to react. I completely ignored her flirty, shy expression. She's a ghost, what kind of expression? Could she not fake? Since you were so forward, I'll give you a little tip. I immediately looked at her. This chick has been around the block. She can definitely help me out. Come here. She leaned in close to me. I bent down, eagerly perking up my ears. Actually, when I'm sucking your life force, you don't have to use your tongue. My head snapped up. In my panic, I let out a classic curse. Fuck, that's so barbaric of you. She covered her mouth and giggled. Her eyes practically said, oh, you're flustered. But then, she flashed me a wink. But your technique isn't bad. I really liked it. With that, she left behind a trail of silvery laughter and vanished. I stood there, totally embarrassed, smacking my flushed cheeks hard. I face planted onto the bed, yanking the covers over my head. You think I wanted to use my tongue? That was a subconscious reflex. I couldn't control it. So embarrassing. This is so incredibly embarrassing. Getting mocked by a female ghost. I drifted off into a hazy sleep. By the time I opened my eyes again, I was jolted awake by a frantic phone ring. I rubbed my eyes. I answered it. Lin Mu, it's he Yawen. That dead serious tone and her slightly trembling voice woke me up instantly. Did something happen? My parents are okay. I'm fine too, but I just got a message. I don't know if it's connected to him. What kind of news? I pulled out a cigarette and took a deep drag. Something happened at Shengyuan Cemetery. I'm guessing it was around 3 or 4 in the morning. At least 20 people are dead, he said, his voice trembling. My eyes widened instantly. The news came from the lookout I left outside the cemetery. Not long after it happened, several cars pulled up to the cemetery. They brought out over 20 bodies. I have the pictures right here. Those guys didn't seem like ordinary people either, but they're all dead. Shengyuan Cemetery is completely locked down right now. Even our family's influence can't get through. My phone buzzed again and again. It was the photos he sent. I tapped them open, and my pupils shrank in sheer horror. The bodies were completely shriveled up, like their flesh and blood had been drained dry, leaving nothing but skin wrapped around bare white bones. Soul-devouring. My heart pounded heavily. This way of dying, it's exactly like the vengeful spirit killings recorded in the ancient texts. Having their souls ripped out alive. Dark energy surging through the body, feeling like 10,000 ants biting at you. A truly gruesome death. Vengeful spirits have countless ways to kill, but soul-devouring is the most brutal, and it easily draws the attention of the night watchers. If they did it just to consume souls, it seems like the risk totally outweighs the reward. Unless they had absolutely no other choice, I muttered out loud. Suddenly realizing something, I shot up from my seat, like if it was severely injured, and had to devour souls to heal. Early morning, inside a luxury hotel, Mr. Lin, He-Ya-Wen hurried over to me. Sitting on the sofa, I turned around with a solemn look on my face. Uncle Zhang was the first to walk up. He placed a case right in front of me. Inside were cartons of unopened premium cigarettes. Are you trying to test me with these? Before I could even finish. Uncle Zhang lifted the cigarettes. Underneath were thick stacks of cash. Red upon red, it practically glowed like a holy light. My breathing instantly grew heavy. Mr. Lin, I apologize. My attitude wasn't the best before. Please accept these worldly possessions as a small token of my respect. Please, take them. Uncle Zhang gave a slight bow. I shot him a glance, a bit surprised. Well, it's not that tacky. I mean, I'm just a regular guy too, aren't I? As I spoke, my hands moved almost on their own, pulling the heavy case right to my feet. I even secretly gauged the depth of the box. Tisk, tisk, 400,000 easily. Holy crap, with this, I could eat braised pork rice 3 meals a day for the rest of my life. Rushing over here so early, I hadn't even had breakfast yet. Seeing me accept the cash, Uncle Zhang let out a long sigh of relief. What happened at Shengyuan Cemetery last night made even a former elite soldier like him get goosebumps. There are just some things. He had no choice but to believe. Thank you, he said, taking a step back, and standing right behind He-Ya-Wen. Lin Mo. He-Ya-Wen had been holding in a million questions. She quickly sat down next to me. Even though I had taken the money, my expression stayed dead serious. I cut straight to the chase. Tell me about your grandfather. My grandfather, She barely started before she hesitated, looking completely torn. I lit a cigarette, frowning at him. Why so hesitant just to answer a question? After he took a moment to compose himself, he said in a heavy voice, he was a natural-born monster. I coughed violently. No wonder he had such a hard time saying it. Those words were brutally honest. Keep going, I said. My grandfather was born in the last century. Even back then, the He family was wealthy. But ever since he was a kid, his personality was wildly twisted. You could say he had super male syndrome. Super male syndrome? Yeah, when he was just a teenager, he tortured several maids to death. Anyone who pissed him off ended up dying a gruesome death. Even if it was just a dog, he would chop it into bloody pieces. A phrase flashed through my mind. A cold-blooded psychopath. I don't have many memories of him. I only remember visiting him when I was little, and accidentally wandering into his room. I saw it with my own eyes. Several half-naked girls chained to the foot of his bed, covered in bruises and cuts. His body trembled slightly. It seemed that scene had become his ultimate childhood nightmare. I took a deep drag of my cigarette and tossed the stub away. Super male gene.